Welcome to today's transformation dive, right here on Earn Flow Zone. Ever feel like you're caught in a financial Groundhog Day? You earn, you spend, the money vanishes, repeat? What if I told you your money isn't disappearing? It's just ghosting you. Seriously, like it packed a tiny suitcase and snuck out the back door while you weren't looking. We've all been there, staring at a bank balance that feels less like a number and more like a personal attack. But today, we're flipping the script. This isn't about magic fixes or winning the lottery. It's about reclaiming control, one intentional step at a time. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think and keeps this zone thriving. It tells YouTube to share these insights with more people who need them. And hey, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment with where you're watching from or your biggest money habit win. Maybe you finally tracked expenses for a week or said no to that impulse buy. Share your victories. Together, we build this community. Ready to stop the ghosting and start directing? Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. You open your banking app and flinch. You've been avoiding it. Again. There's that familiar knot in your stomach, like you've swallowed a tiny, anxious rock. The numbers are lower than you expected, higher than you hoped for certain categories. Where did it all go? It feels like your money has sprung 1,000 tiny leaks, slowly dripping away into the financial abyss. Or maybe it just vanished into thin air, somewhere between payday and now. Much like a single sock in the dryer, you earn a decent income, maybe even a good one. You tell yourself you're not bad with money, just busy, or maybe you just don't earn quite enough to make a real difference. You look around, comparing yourself to others who seem to have it all figured out. Buying property, traveling effortlessly, building businesses, while you're still stressing about an unexpected car repair or watching the rising cost of groceries with mild horror. Here's the insidious myth you've likely bought into, probably without even realizing it. Financial control is synonymous with painful deprivation. Complicated budgets you can't stick to for more than 3 days, or needing to earn some magical stratospheric salary number before anything really changes. You think the problem is the amount coming in, or the difficulty of managing it. But here's the surprising truth, the real aha moment. That feeling of money slipping away, of it vanishing without a trace. It isn't usually because you don't earn enough, though yes, earning more is definitely a factor in accelerating growth. It's primarily because you haven't given your money a clear purpose, a job description, a mission. You're not directing it with intention. You're just letting it flow out of your account like water down a drain, hoping it accidentally lands somewhere useful or productive. It's like trying to navigate across a city without a map, or worse, without even deciding on your destination first. You're in the passenger seat of your financial life, and guess what? No one's driving with intention. The cause and effect are simple. Lack of direction leads to confusion, anxiety, and feeling powerless. Putting yourself in the driver's seat and assigning purpose leads to clarity, control, and progress. This one shift, deciding where your money goes before it goes there, can change everything. Before we dive into the how, let's just sit with the what for a moment. Take a deep breath. Name the feeling you get when you think about your money situation right now. In this exact moment, is it anxiety? Is it a hot flush of shame? Is it utter confusion? Maybe it's just a dull dread. Write it down. Get specific. Acknowledge that feeling without judgment, without layering on self-criticism or regret. This isn't about blame. It's about awareness. This feeling, this acknowledgement, this is your starting line. This is the energy we're going to transform into empowered action. Welcome to today's transformation dive here at Earn Flow Zone. Let's be honest. How many times have you thought you really knew where your money went? You've got the big chunks sorted, right? Rent, maybe a mortgage payment, utilities, the weekly grocery haul. You feel like you have a handle on it. But then, somehow, at the end of the month, the numbers don't quite add up to the mental picture you painted. You're left scratching your head, wondering, wait, didn't I have more than this? It's like looking at a photo of your dinner and forgetting you ate the whole plate of appetizers and dessert before the main course even arrived. We think we see the whole picture, but our brains have a funny way of editing out the parts we don't want to see, or the parts that just seem too small to matter. This gap between your financial assumptions and your financial reality, that's where hidden leaks form, and where true growth gets stuck. It's time to shine a light into those corners you didn't even know existed. We're not just talking about budgeting. We're talking about building awareness, piece by tiny piece. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content that helps you build that awareness and take control, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think and keeps this valuable content coming your way. Also, drop a comment with where you're watching from or your biggest money habit win so far. Let's build this community. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. Okay, so you have a rough idea where your money goes, right? Rent, utilities, food, subscriptions, maybe a bit of fun money. You estimate you spend X on this, Y on that, and you probably feel like you're doing pretty well with this mental math. But let's be brutally honest for a second. These are often just educated guesses, or maybe even wishful thinking, colored by what you hope you spent, not the cold, hard reality. Your brain, bless its efficient heart, is fantastic at forgetting the small stuff. It conveniently skips over the $7 impulse buy at the checkout, the extra delivery fees because you couldn't be bothered to cook again, or those forgotten subscriptions billing silently in the background for services you haven't touched in months. This is the illusion of control. You think you're aware. You feel like you know your financial landscape, but you're actually operating on assumptions built on a shaky foundation, not actual data. It's like navigating using a map you drew from memory years ago. You might get close, but you're probably missing a few roads, construction detours, and perhaps a whole new subdivision that popped up without you noticing. Here's the really surprising insight backed by mountains of research. Our financial blind spots are enormous, especially when it comes to small, frequent transactions. Behavioral economics shows us that we're just terrible at tracking these small, recurring expenses mentally, and we massively underestimate their cumulative impact over time. You might stress endlessly about saving up for a major car repair or a down payment, which are big, visible goals. But those invisible drains, the daily $5 latte that feels like nothing, the forgotten annual service fee for some app you signed up for years ago, the premium streaming service you watch once a month but costs $20. Individually, they seem insignificant. Collectively, these silent leaks can easily cost you hundreds, even thousands of dollars a year. Think about it. $5 a day is over $1,800 a year. $20 a month for a forgotten subscription is $240 a year you could have used elsewhere. It's financial death by 1,000 paper cuts. You can't stop the leaks. You can't plug the holes. And you certainly can't redirect that wasted money towards your goals if you don't even know they exist. It's the classic you don't know what you don't know principle, applied directly to your wallet. You need to uncover those hidden drains. And the first step is acknowledging that you probably don't know as much as you think you do about your spending habits. This self-awareness is the foundational layer of any financial strategy. This one habit changed everything for me, and it's surprisingly simple, but incredibly powerful. For just one single day, commit to tracking every single dollar you spend. Seriously. From the moment you wake up until your head hits the pillow. That coffee? Track it. The bus fare? Track it. The pack of gum? Track it. Lunch? Track it. That little something you bought online? Track it. Use whatever tool works best for you. The Notes app on your phone, a small notebook you carry in your pocket, a simple spreadsheet, or even just your phone's calculator, adding things up throughout the day. The key here is no judgment. Absolutely zero. This isn't about feeling guilty or bad about your spending. It's purely an exercise in observation. You are a financial detective for 24 hours, gathering evidence. See what actually leaves your wallet or account. Pay attention to those small transactions you usually wave away. This single day of honest tracking will likely reveal spending patterns and amounts that will genuinely surprise you and highlight exactly where those unknowns are hiding. Try this for a day and just observe. What did you notice? The journey we're on here at Earn Flow Zone is about building a life of financial freedom and personal fulfillment. And that starts not with complex strategies, but with simple, honest awareness. As we wrap up this segment, remember the core idea. You truly don't know what you don't know when it comes to your money. And that lack of awareness is costing you more than you realize. It's those invisible leaks, those small, untracked expenses that silently erode your financial potential day after day, week after week. The big takeaway is this: assumptions are the enemy of progress. Thinking you know is not the same as knowing. The simple, almost mundane act of tracking your spending, even just for one day, is a radical act of financial honesty. It pulls back the curtain on your real habits, exposing the blind spots that behavioral science tells us we all have. The potential long-term benefit of facing this reality head-on is immense. Once you see the leaks, you can start to plug them. Once you understand where your money is actually going, you can make conscious decisions about where you want it to go. This isn't about deprivation. It's about redirection. It's about taking the power back from those forgotten subscriptions and impulse buys and putting it towards the things that truly matter to you. Whether that's paying down debt faster, building an emergency fund, investing for your future, or finally saving for that big goal. Here's a deeper insight. Money management isn't just about numbers and spreadsheets. It's a profound act of self-respect and discipline. It's about aligning your daily actions with your long-term aspirations. It's about building a mindset of intentionality rather than letting inertia or unconscious habits dictate your financial future. The discipline to track, even for one day, is the muscle you need to build for all future financial decisions. It's the first step in moving from operating on guesswork to operating on data, from feeling controlled by money to taking control of money. In the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around. All right, you've set your intention, maybe even started thinking about where your money goes. But let's be real for a second. There's a moment of truth, and for most people, it's shrouded in a thick fog of pain. We're talking about the moment you actually have to look at the numbers. Pull up that bank statement. Glance at the credit card bill. Open that budgeting app you installed 6 months ago and haven't touched. And bam, it hits you. The pain of looking. For so many people, this step feels less like a smart financial move and more like a walk of shame. You see the numbers, and suddenly that little voice pipes up, "Look how much you wasted." Shame floods in. Or maybe it's fear. There's no way I can ever get ahead at this rate. Or perhaps just pure, unadulterated frustration. This is impossible. Why even bother? This emotional resistance is a silent killer of financial progress. It's precisely why most people avoid looking closely at their money flow. It's just easier to stay in that hazy state of not quite knowing. You know things could be better. You feel the pinch sometimes. But facing the cold, hard numbers, that means confronting reality. And sometimes, reality feels like a punch to the gut. It feels like a moral failing. But here's where we need to bust a major myth, earn flow zone style. Looking at your finances isn't a moral judgment on you as a person. Repeat that to yourself. It is not a judgment. It's simply gathering information. Think of it like visiting the doctor. If you're not feeling well, the doctor doesn't look at you and say, "Wow, you're a bad person for having that cough." No, they run tests. They look at the results, your blood pressure, your scans, your temperature, to understand what's actually happening inside. Your financial statements are just the tests for your financial health. They tell you what's happening, not who you are. The pain you might feel when you first look, that's temporary. It's the discomfort of diagnosis. But the clarity you gain, that is permanent and incredibly empowering. This isn't about feeling bad about past decisions. It's about gaining the power to make better ones moving forward. It's the ultimate cause and effect loop. Seeing the truth gives you the power to change it. The core concept here is that confronting reality, even when it's uncomfortable, is the non-negotiable first step towards changing that reality. Your decision right now is whether you're willing to feel temporary discomfort for long-term control. It's like finally looking at your weight after avoiding the scale. The number might sting for a moment, but then you know exactly where you're starting from. This one habit, the habit of looking, changed everything for me. It took the vague worry and turned it into a clear map. So here is your prompt for action, your challenge this week. Set aside 15 to 30 minutes. Just 15 to 30 minutes. Find a quiet spot. Open your primary bank statement, your main credit card statement, or look at your spending tracker app from the past month. Your mission? Just look. Resist the urge to judge yourself. Don't try to fix anything yet. Seriously. Just observe where the money flowed. Where did it go? What categories dominate? What subscriptions did you forget about? Just be a detective, not a judge. Ask yourself, what story do these numbers tell about my past month? This simple act of non-judgmental observation is powerful, and it's the necessary stepping stone to everything that comes next. Okay. So you've taken the leap. Maybe you've started tracking. Maybe you're just looking at bank statements with a critical eye. Now comes the moment of truth, and trust me, it's often surprising. This is the section where the data doesn't just speak, it practically shouts, and it often tells you that your assumptions about where your money is going are, well, slightly off, or sometimes wildly inaccurate. You might have felt like your biggest financial challenge was the daily coffee habit. Or maybe you were convinced dining out was the sole culprit draining your discretionary funds. But when you look at the actual numbers, the cold, hard data, it often tells a different story. Perhaps those fears about eating out are misplaced, and you find your money is really disappearing in 1,000 tiny clicks on online shopping sites. Or maybe it's those online courses you bought with the best intentions, but never actually opened. People often focus on the big, splashy purchases because they're memorable. The new gadget, the weekend getaway. But like a leaky pipe with a slow, persistent drip, it's often the cumulative effect of small, habitual expenses or hidden costs that does the most damage. Think of it like trying to lose weight by cutting out one huge dessert, but ignoring the handfuls of snacks throughout the day. The data bypasses your feelings and shows you the undeniable ground truth. Beginners in this process are frequently astonished by forgotten subscriptions. That streaming service you haven't used in months. The app you downloaded for a free trial and forgot to cancel. Maybe even a gym membership you haven't visited since. Well, let's not dwell on that. Like humor moment, we've all been there. My bank account once had a secret relationship with a niche Cheese of the Month club I swear I didn't sign up for. For mid-earners who feel like they should be saving more, the data often highlights lifestyle creep. Small upgrades here and there, perhaps a slightly more expensive grocery store, more frequent Ubers instead of walking, or just general convenience spending that adds up insidiously. It feels necessary, but the data shows its impact. Even ambitious builders, those focused on reinvesting and growth, might find inefficient spending on non-essential business tools or unnecessary status purchases are hurting their reinvestment capacity, showing that even productive incomes can have surprisingly unproductive leaks. The surprising insight here, the one that challenges conventional thinking, is that your biggest financial leaks are rarely where you think they are. Our brains are wired to focus on the big memorable expenses or fall for common narratives promoted online. Yes, I'm looking at you. Avocado toast is the problem, folks. This ignores the quiet, insidious impact of small, habitual, or hidden expenses that add up over time, eroding your potential wealth flow. The data cuts through the narrative you've built for yourself and shows you the actual landscape. This is crucial because you can't fix a leak you don't know about. Seeing the data provides the cause-effect clarity. This spending is causing that drain. Now, for your action step. This is where the rubber meets the road. Look at your tracked spending data from the last section, or even just dig into your bank statements or credit card bills for the past month or two. Identify the top 3 categories where your money is going, especially beyond essential bills like rent, mortgage, core utilities, and basic groceries. Don't filter, just observe what the data shows. Write them down. This one habit, facing the actual numbers, changed everything for me and countless others. It moves you from guessing to knowing. So you've done the hard work. You've peered into the financial abyss, faced the facts, and tracked where your money has been going. That was phase 1, observation. You know the story your spending tells about your past. You've seen, perhaps with wide eyes, those top categories where your hard-earned cash seems to vanish. Knowing where your money went is absolutely necessary, foundational even, but it's only half the battle. But here's where the real power shift happens. Phase 2 is about reclaiming control. It's not just knowing where your money went yesterday. It's deciding, with intention, where it will go tomorrow. This is the crucial pivot from being a passive recipient, just watching bills arrive and money evaporate, to becoming the active director of your financial flow. This phase is where we move from tracking to taming, and the primary tool for taming is what most people dread: budgeting. But, and this is a massive but, budgeting isn't a straitjacket designed to make you miserable or choke the joy out of life. Absolutely not. People often underestimate the psychological shift this creates. They think budgeting is about saying no to everything you enjoy. But the surprising habit that changes everything is realizing budgeting is actually about saying yes to your priorities, loudly and clearly, and then giving your money the specific instructions to make those priorities happen. Think of budgeting instead as a plan, a roadmap, a permission slip to spend money on things you actually value, while ensuring the essential stuff is covered and your future is funded. It's giving your money a job. Every single dollar you earn, imagine it as a tiny employee reporting for duty. Your budget? That's the task list you hand them. You are the boss, assigning tasks. Okay, this amount is for rent. This amount is for groceries. This chunk gets to go have fun with friends. This piece goes to build our future. You're not restricting, you're aligning. It's like telling your employees exactly what you need done, instead of just hoping they figure it out, and then being surprised when they all wander off for coffee and leave the important stuff undone. This isn't just busy work. The cause here is clear decision-making about your funds. The effect, it's powerful alignment. Are your current spending habits truly aligned with your biggest goals? With that dream vacation, that down payment, that feeling of security? For most people, the answer is a painful, likely not, which is why they feel that constant financial drain. Taming your money stream ensures it flows towards what matters most to you. It transforms money from a source of stress into a tool for building the life you want. All right, based on the top 3 spending categories you bravely identified when you were tracking, let's put this into action. Ask yourself, looking at those top areas, which just one area could potentially redirect some funds? You're not cutting it out completely. You're just identifying where there might be some slack, some room for optimization. Maybe you saw a lot on eating out. Could you try swapping one restaurant meal for cooking at home next week? Maybe it was subscriptions. Are you using all 4 streaming services you pay for? Just pick one small thing. This one focused question can change everything. It's the first step from passive observer to active director. All right, let's map out the next step in our journey to financial freedom. We've talked about the mindset, about understanding your relationship with money. And now it's time to get practical. We're building something concrete, something you can see and touch, your money map. Think of it like planning a road trip. You wouldn't just hop in the car and hope you end up at your destination, right? You need a route. Your money needs a route too. Forget complicated, intimidating software or spreadsheets initially if that feels overwhelming. Your very first money map can be incredibly simple. Grab a piece of paper, open a basic notes app, or a simple spreadsheet. Step 1. List all your income for the month. Every single dollar coming in from your job, side hustle, that refund check, whatever it is. Jot it down. Then list your essential expenses. These are the non-negotiables: rent or mortgage payment, utilities, electricity, water, internet, minimum debt payments, credit cards, loans, essential groceries, like actual food to survive, not impulse snack buys. and transportation costs to get to work or appointments. People sometimes underestimate how much these core needs add up, but seeing them listed clearly is the first big step. Subtract those essential expenses from your total income. The amount that's left, that is your discretionary income. This is the money that, up until now, might have just disappeared, vanished into thin air on coffees, random online shopping, or spontaneous nights out. It's the money that feels like extra, but it's actually the key to your financial growth. Now, before you spend a single cent of that discretionary income, you get to decide its job. This is where the real power comes in. Instead of letting your money wander off aimlessly, you become the boss, assigning tasks to every dollar until you have $0 left to account for. This is the principle behind a zero-based budget, giving every single dollar a specific job. Maybe it's going towards paying off debt faster. Maybe it's for saving for a down payment. Maybe it's for that fun weekend trip you want. Or maybe it's for your investment account. Another great starting point is the 50-30-20 rule. Roughly 50% of your income goes to needs, 30% to wants, and 20% to savings and debt repayment beyond the minimums. The specific method doesn't matter as much as the act of assigning the job. Here's the surprising insight, the real game changer that nobody really emphasizes enough. The power of a budget isn't actually in hitting the numbers perfectly every single month. Seriously, life happens. Sometimes a utility bill is higher than expected, or your car needs an unexpected repair. The magic isn't in the rigid adherence. It's in the conscious decision-making process it forces upon you. When you have a money map, you pause before spending. That impulse purchase, you now have a framework to ask yourself, is this aligned with the job I assigned this money at the start of the month? This simple pause creates a speed bump, a moment of reflection that breaks the automatic, impulse spending cycle that keeps so many people stuck. It's like having a little financial coach on your shoulder, saying, "Hey, remember what this dollar was supposed to do?" Just that moment of awareness is often enough to change the trajectory of your spending. It shifts you from a passive consumer to an active financial architect. Ready to build your initial map? Here's your action step, and it's simpler than you might think. Try this for a week. On a piece of paper, a basic spreadsheet, or even just a note on your phone, list your income sources and the total amount you expect for the month. Then, list your major, fixed, essential expenses: rent, mortgage, minimum debts, crucial bills, essential groceries estimate. Calculate the remaining amount. This is the money you now get to consciously decide the job for. Don't worry about allocating every single dollar perfectly right now. Just do the calculation, see that number, and reflect. Ask yourself, what could this money do if I directed it intentionally? This one habit, simply seeing the numbers and having the conversation with yourself, changed everything for me. It's the foundation of taking control. All right, let's dive into the nitty-gritty, the absolute starting line for so many. We're talking about Section 7 in our money map journey, what I call the beginner, stop the bleeding. This is the reality check zone. If your financial picture right now looks like a red ink explosion, or you're living paycheck to paycheck with little to no buffer, this isn't about optimizing investments or chasing side hustles just yet. Your immediate mission, should you choose to accept it, is brutally simple. Stop losing money and build a tiny life-saving cushion. Think of your discretionary spending as little leaks in a dam. Right now, you need to plug those leaks relentlessly. This means taking a surgical knife to non-essential expenses. We're talking about those daily coffees, the streaming services you don't use, the clothes you don't need but want, the spontaneous takeout orders. Every single dollar matters when you're in this phase. Why is this step so critical, even painful? Because until you stop the outflow, you can't build anything sustainable. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in it. Even worse, if you're carrying high-interest debt, that hole isn't just losing water. It's actively sucking it out at an accelerating rate thanks to interest. Attacking high-interest debt isn't glamorous. It's financial warfare. It's where your discretionary money has its primary job application accepted. Every single dollar you redirect from a want, that lunch out, that new gadget, towards paying down that credit card or payday loan isn't just paying off principal. It's stopping you from losing even more money to interest next month. It's a defensive play, but the most important one you can make right now. You might feel deprived, like you're missing out, and honestly, you are, for a little while. But the long-term gain, the stopping of the financial bleeding, is invaluable. Consider Sarah, for instance. Sarah pulls in a decent enough income, but somehow she's accumulated $5,000 in credit card debt. When she looked at her spending, really looked at it, no judgment, just facts, she saw her discretionary cash was vanishing on things like daily lattes. $5 a day adds up, spontaneous online shopping, and eating out several times a week because she was too tired to cook. It felt like small stuff, but tracking it revealed she could easily free up $300 a month by making conscious choices. Before, that $300 just disappeared. Now, her money map for the next few months has a very clear, non-negotiable job for that $300. Allocate $250 directly to that high-interest debt and put $50 into a small emergency fund. It means saying no to things her friends are doing, bringing lunch to work, and postponing non-essential purchases. It's not fun. It feels restrictive, like being on a financial boot camp. But that pain in the short term, it's setting her up for financial freedom and peace of mind in the long run. Here's a surprising fact for you. Many people in debt or living paycheck to paycheck think they don't have discretionary income. They confuse necessary with habitual. That daily expensive coffee might feel necessary to start your day, but it's habitual, not essential for survival. Busting this myth requires brutal honesty with your spending. This one habit changed everything for me when I was starting out. I tracked every single dollar I spent for 30 days, no matter how small. It was eye-opening, frustrating, and ultimately empowering because it showed me exactly where the bleeding was happening. Now, for your prompt for action. If you have high-interest debt, we're talking credit cards, payday loans, anything with interest rates above 10 to 15%, or if you have less than $500 saved for emergencies, or nothing at all, you have one primary job for your money for the next 90 days. Ask yourself, what's stopping you from defining that job right now? Define it clearly. Is it aggressively reducing that high-interest debt, or building that small initial emergency fund of $500 to $1,000? You cannot effectively do both intensely at this stage. Choose one and put nearly every available discretionary dollar towards that single goal. This focus is your foundation. Okay, so maybe you're past the nail-biting phase. You've got a buffer. The bill collectors aren't on speed dial, and that pesky high-interest debt is either gone or manageable. Welcome to the mid-earner stage, the earn flow zone's equivalent of moving from beginner to intermediate level. At this point, the job of your money map shifts dramatically. It's no longer just about survival and safety nets. It's about optimization and acceleration. Think of it like upgrading your car's engine. You're not just getting from A to B anymore. You want efficiency and power to go further, faster. Your focus turns to strategically moving money from areas like discretionary spending or even just sitting idly in savings accounts towards assets that work for you. This could mean maxing out those juicy retirement accounts, building a war chest for a down payment, strategically tackling lower interest debt, because sometimes freeing up cash flow is the goal, or dipping your toes into the investment waters. You're hunting for bigger wins now, leveraging your existing income to build future wealth. There's a common myth here that because you make decent money, wealth growth is automatic. Spoiler alert, it's not. You can easily become a high earner with zero net worth if lifestyle inflation eats every extra dollar. The surprising truth? Often, the biggest gains at this stage come not from earning more, but from being brutally honest about where your money is actually going right now and intentionally redirecting it. It's not about deprivation, it's about thoughtful allocation. Nobody said you have to live like a monk, but maybe that fourth streaming service or annual phone upgrade isn't serving your future self quite as much as an extra 401k contribution. Okay, deep breaths. I know the new phone is shiny. Let's look at David. He earns a solid income, has some savings, and his credit card debt is under control. By all accounts, he's doing fine. But he felt stuck, like he wasn't really building anything significant. He decided to track his spending meticulously. Seriously, just track it for a month. It's like discovering Narnia, but with receipts and maybe slightly less wonder. David's tracking revealed a significant outflow on entertainment. Impulse tech upgrades. Do I really need the pro version of that everything? And expensive hobbies. We're talking several $100s a month here that just vanished. By optimizing, not eliminating, but cutting back slightly, looking for cheaper alternatives, free events instead of paid concerts, enjoying older tech for a bit longer, and just being more intentional before clicking buy, he freed up a remarkable $800 every single month. Now that money has a job. David's new money map directive, $500 goes straight into his 401k, ensuring he gets the full company match and then some, accelerating his retirement savings dramatically. The remaining $300 is earmarked for a down payment fund for a future home. Is David suffering? Nope. He's still enjoying life, but he swapped unconscious consumption for conscious growth. The cause is intentional allocation. The effect is accelerated wealth building. This stage is about shifting your money's energy. Instead of letting it dissipate through leaky spending, you're building a channel, the cash flow, to power your biggest financial goals. Think of it like channeling a small stream, your extra income, into a powerful turbine, your investments or debt payoff. Instead of letting it spread out into a swamp, lifestyle creep. This is where you get specific. If you have a buffer and manageable debt, you're ready for this shift. Your critical next step is to define your primary money job for the next year. Build a larger emergency fund, 3 to 6 months. Pay off a specific debt. Save for a large purchase, down payment, car, or increase investments/retirement contributions. Choose one or maybe 2 top priorities. Having a clear target makes the optimization process infinitely more effective. Ask yourself, what is the single most impactful financial goal I could accelerate right now? Okay, buckle up. We've navigated the basics. We've talked about building momentum. But what if you're ready to not just grow, but to truly accelerate? This section is for you, the ambitious, the entrepreneur scaling their business, the professional relentlessly climbing, the investor actively building significant wealth. Your relationship with money isn't just about management or even steady growth. It's about fueling the fire. Your money map at this level is sophisticated. It's less a budget and more a dynamic capital allocation strategy. You're essentially the CEO of your own financial ecosystem. Every dollar has a job, and that job better deliver a return on investment, ROI. You're constantly asking, how much of this incoming flow goes back into the engine, the business, fueling growth, R&D, hiring? How much is directed to strategic investments that aren't just saving for later, but actively multiplying your capital, maybe in high-growth stocks, real estate, or even other ventures? How much is allocated for calculated risks, the kind that could unlock significant upside? And here's the counterintuitive part for many. How much goes towards essential quality-of-life purchases that directly support your productivity and capacity? Think about that ergonomic setup, that software subscription that saves you hours, or yes, even outsourcing tasks you shouldn't be doing yourself. You're managing cash flow like a pro athlete tracks performance metrics, or a CEO analyzes division profitability. Analyzing ROI for every dollar, whether it feels personal or business, is key. Take Emily, the online business owner. Her financial tracking isn't just about paying rent and utilities. It's a fused view of her business finances and her personal spending, because at this level, they are inextricably linked. She noticed a significant chunk of money was constantly going to outsource tasks that could eventually be automated or streamlined. Her money map didn't just show the expense, it highlighted an inefficiency. That was her insight. Her job then became clear: redirect that capital. She pulled back from that inefficient spending and aggressively invested that same money into targeted advertising campaigns with clear tracking and a predictable ROI. This wasn't just spending money, it was actively fueling growth. But it's not just about business expenses. Emily also intentionally allocated funds for a personal assistant to handle her scheduling and admin. To someone just starting out, this might look like frivolous lifestyle creep, but Emily analyzed it like an investment. The cost of the assistant freed up her time. Time she could then spend on high-level strategy, sales calls, or content creation, activities only she could do that brought in significant revenue. That personal expense was a strategic investment in her highest leverage asset, her own time and focus. Here's a surprising habit for those reaching this level. The most effective wealth builders don't see personal and business finances as completely separate silos in their tracking and analysis. They look at the total ecosystem's cash flow and analyze how any expenditure impacts their overall capacity to generate wealth. The myth busted? That sophisticated tracking is only for Wall Street pros. For the ambitious, it's your personal business flight dashboard. Why is this granular, integrated analysis so critical? Because when you're building something significant, cash flow isn't just about survival. It's the oxygen and the fuel. Inefficiency isn't just wasteful. It's a direct drag on your growth rate. Every dollar you spend on something that doesn't generate a return or doesn't directly support your mission is a dollar that could have been accelerating your progress. Understanding where your money is truly going and its true impact on your ability to earn and grow is the ultimate leverage. Okay, if you're actively in this phase of building significant wealth or scaling a business, It's time for some CEO-level analysis. Ask yourself, analyze your cash flow, looking at both your personal and business spending together, or your personal spending through the lens of supporting your high-level work. Where is money going that isn't generating a clear return on investment or directly supporting your mission and highest leverage activities? Identify one specific area today where you can redirect those funds for higher impact. Maybe it's cutting lifestyle creep that doesn't actually boost your productivity, eliminating an inefficient business cost, or intentionally reinvesting a portion of your spending into a tool or service that buys you time or enhances your capacity. Mastering this redirection is how you pour fuel directly onto the fire. Welcome to today's transformation dive into unlocking your financial potential. Ever feel like your money has a mind of its own, slipping through your fingers faster than a greased watermelon at a summer picnic? Or perhaps you stare at your budget, feeling a knot of anxiety that has nothing to do with the numbers themselves and everything to do with how they make you feel. It's a common trap, and honestly, it's one that keeps countless smart, capable people stuck in cycles of financial stress. We chase the strategies, the tips, the budget templates, thinking the how is the only missing piece. But often, the real block isn't the math, it's the mindset. If you're ready to dig deeper, to challenge those hidden beliefs and emotional responses that are subtly, or not so subtly, dictating your financial outcomes, then you're in the right place. This isn't just about stacking cash. It's about building a healthier relationship with money, one that empowers you rather than drains you. It's about creating a flow state, where your earnings aren't just numbers, but fuel for the life you truly want. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think, and it keeps this community growing. And I'm always curious to know who's joining the journey. Drop a comment with where you're watching from, or share your biggest money habit win you've had recently. Let's celebrate those wins together. Stick around, because we're about to tackle one of the most fundamental, yet often overlooked, truths about wealth building. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. Think about money for a second. Just the concept. What is it, really? It's ink on paper, digits on a screen, bits of metal. Functionally, it's a medium of exchange, a store of value, a unit of account. That's it. Pretty dry, right? Yet, when we look at our bank account balance, when we get a bill, when we consider a big purchase, what do we feel? Suddenly, it's a torrent of emotion. Maybe excitement about a bonus, shame about debt, fear of not having enough, hope for a future purchase, anxiety over unexpected expenses. This is the absolute core of a massive financial blind spot for so many people. Money itself has no emotion. You do. This is perhaps one of the most powerful perspective shifts you can make on your journey to financial well-being. Money is a tool. It's simply numbers flowing in and out according to the instructions you give it, consciously or unconsciously. When you open up your budgeting app or spreadsheet, or even just glance at your bank statement, you're not looking at a report card on your personal worth or a judgment on your character. You're looking at a money map, a snapshot of where a particular tool, money, is currently located and where it's headed based on your previous commands. Did you overspend on impulse buys? Okay, the map shows a detour. Note it, understand the instructions you gave the tool, and then adjust your future commands. It's data, it's feedback. It's not a moral failing. It's just information about the operation of a system you control. Here's the surprising fact. Studies in behavioral economics repeatedly show that our financial decisions are far less rational than we like to believe, heavily influenced by emotions like loss aversion. The pain of losing money is felt more strongly than the pleasure of gaining it, or present bias, prioritizing immediate gratification over future rewards. Money isn't inherently scary or exciting or disappointing. We are the ones who attach those labels, often based on past experiences, societal pressures, or limiting beliefs we've absorbed over time. Recognizing this detachment is the first step to regaining control. It's like realizing the steering wheel in your car is just a tool. It doesn't feel anything about the direction you turn, but you feel the consequence of hitting a curb. Detaching the emotion from the numbers allows you to look at your financial situation objectively. You can make rational decisions based on your long-term goals, based on the job you assign to your money, saving for a down payment, paying off debt, investing for retirement, rather than being swept away by momentary feelings, the excitement of a sale, the anxiety triggered by a low balance, the shame of acknowledging a mistake. This isn't about becoming a financial robot, devoid of feeling. It's about becoming aware of when your emotions are trying to hijack your intentions and learning to create a space between the emotional trigger and the financial action. That space is the pause. The power is in that pause and the subsequent conscious decision you make from a place of intention, not reaction. When you see a number, pause. Before you click buy, pause. It's in that pause you reclaim your agency. Try this for a week. The next time you make any spending decision, big or small, buying coffee, groceries, a streaming service subscription, whatever, pause for a full 10 seconds before you complete the transaction. It might feel awkward at first, standing there counting. During that pause, simply ask yourself, is this purchase aligned with the job I've assigned this money in my plan? Just the simple act of asking that question, creating that moment of conscious awareness, changes everything. It pulls you out of the emotional current and onto the shore of rational decision-making. This one habit of pausing and questioning changed everything for me in seeing money as the neutral tool it is, and not a judge of my personal value. So, we've navigated the powerful truth that money itself is neutral, a tool devoid of emotion, and it's our own feelings that we project onto it. We've explored the subtle yet profound impact this realization can have, shifting from reacting emotionally to responding intentionally. We touched on the pause, that critical space between impulse and action, as the key to conscious decision-making. The big takeaway here is recognizing the narrative you build around money in your head. Is it a story of scarcity and fear, or a story of potential and flow? By seeing money as a simple tool, like a hammer or a paintbrush, you strip away the emotional baggage and empower yourself to use it effectively for the purpose you intend. The long-term benefit of cultivating this emotional detachment isn't just better budgeting or saving more. It's a fundamental reduction in financial stress and anxiety. It's gaining a sense of calm and control over a significant area of your life. A deeper insight emerges. Discipline isn't about deprivation. It's about alignment. When you align your actions, how you use the tool, money, with your stated goals, the job you've assigned the money, the need for sheer brute force discipline diminishes. It becomes less about resisting impulse and more about consciously executing a plan you believe in. It's like a builder using the right tool for the right job. There's no internal struggle, just effective execution towards a desired outcome. Money, in this light, becomes a powerful amplifier of your intentions, not a source of constant emotional turbulence. Cultivating this mindset takes practice. It requires gentle self-awareness and patience, observing your emotional responses without judgment. But with each conscious pause, with each decision made from a place of objective alignment rather than emotional reaction, you build a stronger, healthier relationship with your finances. You become the master of the tool, not its emotional captive. In the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around. This principle, knowing where your money goes and telling it where to go, isn't a one-time fix. People often view managing their finances like dieting for a week before a big event, intense but temporary. But true financial power comes from treating it like building a muscle at the gym. You show up consistently, you apply effort, and over time, the results don't just add up, they compound. This is the compounding power of intention. Think about it. Consistently directing money towards your goals, whether that's aggressively paying off high-interest debt, steadily building an emergency fund, investing for the long haul, or funding that course or business expense that will spur growth, creates incredible momentum. It's easy to dismiss $50 here or $100 there as insignificant. But that $50 redirected monthly means $600 a year intentionally saved or invested. And if invested, that's $600. Plus the next $600 starts earning its own money. It's like planting seeds, small actions yielding ever larger harvests over time. Similarly, that debt payment doesn't just reduce a number, it frees up cash flow month after month, creating more breathing room and more capital to direct intentionally elsewhere. An intentional business expense isn't just money spent. It's capital deployed strategically to bring in more revenue down the line. The cause effect is clear. Focused action generates exponential returns. Here's the surprising outcome, and perhaps the most transformative part of this journey. You gain not just financial wealth, but profound mental wealth. You stop feeling like money is a chaotic force happening to you, like getting hit by surprise bills or watching your balance shrink without understanding why. Instead, you start feeling like you are making money happen for you. This conscious direction drastically reduces financial anxiety and boosts your confidence. It brings a deep feeling of being in control, steering your own ship rather than being tossed by the waves. The earn flow zone isn't just about increasing your earnings. It's about consciously directing the flow, ensuring it serves your highest goals and gives you peace of mind. It's the difference between hoping things work out and knowing you're actively making them work out. This one habit, consistent intentional direction, truly changed everything for me. It might sound simple, but the discipline behind it is where the magic lies. It's not about perfect execution every single day, but about returning to the intention, course-correcting when needed, and trusting the compounding process. Just like you don't get abs after one workout, sadly. You build financial strength over time with consistent, directed effort. Ask yourself, what's stopping you from looking at your money not as a passive entity, but as a resource waiting for your clear instructions? Picture what your financial life could look like 5 years from now if you consistently applied this principle of knowing and directing your money. What specific goal becomes achievable? Is it that down payment, that debt cleared, that investment milestone? The future isn't something you arrive at by chance. It's something you build with intentional bricks laid every single day. So you've journeyed with us through the twists and turns of your personal finances. We pulled back the curtain on the mystery of the disappearing money, faced the sometimes painful truth of looking at the numbers, absorbed the surprise of what the data actually reveals, and discovered the sheer power that comes from directing your cash flow like the absolute boss you were meant to be. Whether your current mission is stopping the financial bleeding, optimizing your existing resources for growth, or fueling big, bold ambitions, the core principle echoes simple truth. Understand where your money is actually going, and then, with intention, decide exactly where it should go, ensuring every dollar aligns perfectly with your goals and your values. What happens, though, if you hear this, nod along, but then just ignore this fundamental lesson? It's like watching a workout video and expecting to get fit by osmosis. You stay firmly planted on that financial hamster wheel. You continue feeling that familiar knot of anxiety, that gnawing stress, that sense of being completely out of control with your money. Opportunities to save effectively, to invest wisely, to foster genuine financial growth. They just pass you by. You might even earn more over time, and let's hope you do. But lifestyle creep is a sneaky saboteur, likely eating up those gains, leaving you feeling just as stuck, just as breathless on that spinning wheel. The distance between where you are today and where you truly want to be financially won't shrink. In fact, it might even grow wider, year after year. It's a bit like hoping your messy sock drawer will magically organize itself. Spoiler alert, it won't. But here's the crucial part. You are here. You've read this far. You now know the potential power embedded within this seemingly simple principle. You understand it's not about needing complex spreadsheets or having a finance degree. You absolutely do not need to do this perfectly or attempt to overhaul everything in one go. The liberating truth is, you just need to start. Stop letting money simply happen to you, flowing randomly like water downhill. It's time to make your money work for you by assigning it a specific job, a purpose, telling it exactly what function it needs to perform in your life. This shift in perspective, from passive recipient to active director, is monumental. Your single, clear, and totally doable step today, right now, is to choose just one of the actions or insights we've discussed throughout this script and commit to doing it. Just one. Will you take a quiet moment to acknowledge the feelings that bubble up when you think about your money situation? Will you track your spending for a single day? Will you simply open and look at one bank or credit card statement you've been avoiding? Will you list out your monthly income and your absolute fixed expenses to see the baseline? Will you identify just one small area where you can intentionally redirect funds towards a goal, even if it's just $5? Choose one action, the one that feels most powerful, most accessible, or perhaps, honestly, the one that feels slightly uncomfortable but necessary right now. Do it. Commit to completing that single action within the next 24 hours. That seemingly small, solitary step is the first command you issue to your money. A clear signal that you are now stepping into the role of commander, in charge of directing its flow. This one habit, choosing intentional action over passive avoidance, holds the potential to change everything. The true power isn't found out there in some secret investment strategy whispered on a forum, or in a winning lottery ticket you hope lands in your lap. That kind of thinking keeps you powerless. The genuine power resides right here, with you, in the intentional, conscious decisions you make about the money you already have circulating in your life, and the money you will undoubtedly earn in the future. Start directing your flow today.